Over the last decade, data analyst careers have been portrayed as one of the hottest careers in the world. And because of that, most people rush in to take every data analyst course out there. The industry is filled with so many courses and content on how to learn data analysis that you can become one in the shortest possible time. I should be taking a data analyst course right now. So in this video, I want to talk about the truth of being a data analyst and some of the biggest lessons I've learned so far. What's up guys, Wale here, welcome back to the channel. So my experience starting out as a data analyst was just like anybody else. I was super pumped, highly motivated, and I couldn't wait to start out. I remember watching hours and hours of tutorial videos in Excel and marveled at how raw data was being turned into beautiful visualizations. And that gave me so much hope and power. Power to feel creative and hope that one day I'll be able to make something out of nothing. And truth be told, I think the idea of being creative is the biggest reason why most people feel like they need to break into data analysis, which is perfectly a good thing. Data analysis is an area that involves lots of creativity, from having to think about the right visualization to tell a story, to investigating data to discover patterns, spot anomalies, and even test your hypothesis. A data analyst must be able to think critically and creatively to solve problems. It's like being in a crime scene as an investigator and a journalist at the same time. You make the findings and you tell the story. But with so much power to be creative comes with it so much expectations. People expect you to be correct every time, to be as accurate as possible. And that takes me to lesson number one. The tiniest error can cost millions of dollars. In 2018, a Samsung security employee in South Korea made a fat finger error, mistaking the South Korean currency for shares. He paid out 1,000 Samsung security shares to workers instead of 1,000 won per share in dividend. That single human error cost the company $300 million in the end. Just a year before that, Uber admitted an overcalculation of its commission cuts in its accounting system, which caused drivers to be underpaid. As a result, Uber skipped subtracting taxes and fees before collecting a 25% commission, which later cost Uber tens of millions of dollars. In both cases, if further checks had been done, the error could have been avoided in the first place. I remember one time when I finished an analysis for my boss, and then he got back to me asking why one of the results looked off. I was so sure he was checking the wrong file until I went back to my analysis and discovered I had made the mistake of using the wrong lookup value on a particular line. While we can never be immune to making mistakes, we must always make it a practice to double check our analysis for accuracy. So if a figure looks off, it might be worth investigating what might be the cause, because every analysis has the potential of being passed up to decision makers, and you don't want to be that person that makes a mistake that cost your company millions of dollars. I was lucky the error in my analysis was spotted in good time and didn't result in the business losing money. So lesson one, the tiniest error can cost millions of dollars. Lesson two, automate or burn out. Psychologists from the University of Essex conducted a study and came to the finding that data analysis happens to be one of the top 5 most boring jobs in the world. As a matter of fact, the most boring person in the world works in data analysis, lives in a small town, and enjoy watching TV at their spare time. As a data analyst, you'll find yourself dealing with lots of mundane, boring, and repetitive tasks, like preparing daily reports, cleaning dirty data, or troubleshooting bad models. The excitement of solving real-world problems quickly wanes into solving boring tasks. But for you to survive on your job and keep the excitement going, you must develop your coping mechanism. I started having a coping mechanism when suddenly I didn't feel as motivated as I used to and started to burn out as a result. I had so many small tasks to do for so many people, and I was the only data analyst in the team. I remember one of the ways I was able to snap out of boring tasks was to automate them. Automation is when you remove the human factor from analytical tasks and allow systems and processes to handle them. So instead of creating a brand new dashboard from scratch every time I have new data, I tried creating a dynamic dashboard that updates with new data. Rather than send out the same report to stakeholders every hour, I set up an agent to schedule reports and deliver alerts. Before I copy and paste data into a new Excel workbook, I tried importing the data from a database. And by so doing, I was able to free up so much time for me to do other value-adding activities. So if you want to spark some excitement in your work, try looking out for ways to automate tedious tasks. So lesson 2, automate or burn out. Lesson 3, there's always one more thing to learn. The moment you stop learning, you die. And this cannot be truer in the world of tech. With new tools getting released at a faster pace than you can consume, the industry is always one step ahead of you. If you snooze, you lose. But the good thing is that snoozing rarely happens at the beginning. We tend to overcome this easily because we are super motivated to make a career for ourselves. We learn every tool out there: Excel, SQL, Power BI, and sometimes even Python. But as soon as we land that job and a few months go by, we fall into a state where we are not motivated to advance. We start to feel comfortable, things feel different now. Suddenly, we no longer want to learn anything new. We feel taking a course is a waste of time, or getting certified is not necessary. I mean, who needs a certificate when I landed a job without a degree? But the truth is, getting that fresh perspective is so important to keep you going. I found out that most of my really great works were done after I took some courses and I saw the kind of visualizations that was used to interpret data, or in some cases I might be reading a magazine and a certain visualization stands out. I will take that visualization and try to replicate it and adopt it for a report for my boss. And I promise you, every time I did that, I always get amazing feedback. So if you're not currently bringing fresh perspective into your work, you're going to eventually have to do that in order to stand out. If you do it smartly, if you do it in a way that is not pushy and that doesn't disrupt the way people consume that information, then you will get good credit for your work. Lesson 4. Good communication will make you stand out. As a data analyst, you likely spend most of your days neck deep in data and numbers. And because of that, you will become really good at communicating in numbers with other data analysts who are familiar with the data and the number you're working with. But the real challenge is communicating with other stakeholders who are not as comfortable working with data as you are. Most often than not, communication will be in form of writing an email or preparing a PowerPoint presentation or delivering a simple elevator pitch. But whatever form it is in, what is important is to pass on that information in a way that your audience fully understands what you are saying. And one of the ways to do that is by starting with the why of the task. Why are you sharing that information? And why should anybody care about your insights? How will your insights benefit them? And why did you decide to do the analysis in the first place? These are just a few questions that will help you set the right context while setting the stage for a deep-rooted conversation. Another way to communicate to stakeholders in a way that they fully understand is by using stories. Storytelling in business setting involves understanding the business domain you're operating in. The more knowledge you have of your domain, the better stories you'll be able to tell to fit your analysis. As a rule of thumb, a story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But not just that, it must have a plot, a crisis point, conflict, and a resolution. And the best storytellers know how to put all this together to create a perfect story. So take some time to read up on industry news and learn more about your organization's business, its challenges, and its competition. And by so doing, you'll understand the business questions that should drive your analysis, and you will communicate more effectively, and you will stand out as a result. So remember, lesson 1, the tiniest error can cost millions of dollars. Lesson 2, automate or burn out. Lesson 3, there's always one more thing to learn. And lesson 4, good communication will make you stand out. I think I also need to mention the fact that there's nothing wrong with you if you are super comfortable on your job and don't feel like chasing greater glory. I think as long as you sincerely enjoy it and it doesn't affect the quality of your work, then I guess it's a win. But aside all the lessons, I think being a data analyst is a great career choice, and it gives you many opportunities to explore your creativity and make something new every time. And I think over time, as you gather more experience and start to pursue projects that you're really passionate about, either as a side project or work project, then that's when the joy really starts coming out. And that's how we keep the fire burning. Anyway, that's the video, guys. I hope you got some value out of this. As usual, if you like this content, do smash the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.